Hello there, YouTube. And Twitch. We're live there. I just realised that Facebook doesn't get the pleasure of the intro song because we don't go live until the hour. But that is only on Facebook. So who's in? Let yourself be known in the comments. 2.5 minutes to go. Peter Young's there. Time checking. What time is it in your part of the world right now? Ben Edmonds. Interesting music. Yeah, get you in the mood. Pia. Isabella's in. Anthony. Connor, hello to you. Barbara's in. Did I say Peter Young? Renato's in as well. Joe, hello Joe, I can see you in the chat. David Silk, hooray! And you as well, if you haven't commented yet. Like the comment, Peter Young, thanks. Get ready, there's a brand new intro. You're going to get the premiere of the brand new intro to MRC Live in just a moment. Very excited about that. I spent the rest of the day making the intro yesterday after the show. Because at the end of yesterday's show I was demonstrating what I was about to do. I finished it and you're about to hear the intro. So let me know what you think of the intro in the comments. It's coming up in 20 or so seconds. And we're mixing multiple vocals, singing vocals, voiceover vocals, and also making you into multiple vocals, if you like, as well, in this show. Get ready for it. It's on the way in just over a minute's time. Prepare yourself for the brand new MRC Live introduction. I hope you'll enjoy it very much.
Testing the left speaker. Left. Testing the right speaker. Right. Testing phaser. All frequency sweep. Stand by
for Music Radio Creative Live with Mike Russell.
MRC Live. Music Radio Creative Live.
With Mike Russell.
Starting in 30 seconds.
Alright, hello, I'm Mike Russell from Music Radio Creative Live here in our studios on the Isle of Wight in the United Kingdom. It is so good to be with you today. I'm very, very excited, as you can tell. Today we are going to be mixing multiple vocals together. What am I talking about? I am talking about sung vocals. Sung vocals that sound a little bit like this.
Travis FM.
But we'll be mixing more than just one singular vocal together. And by the way, I know that the owner of Travis FM is a viewer to the live stream. So if you're watching today, hello, nice to see you. So we're going to see that. We're also going to see automatic speech aligning vocals, that kind of stuff that you can do in Adobe Audition. So if you've got like 4 or 5 voice artists saying the same thing, how do you get them all in sync so it sounds wonderful and perfect, even if one voice artist speaks like this very slowly and another one says MRC Live? MRC Live. How would you sync that up? So mixing multiple vocals, this is what I'm talking about. This show is for you. If you're an audio producer, if you're a podcaster, if you're a voice artist or aspiring voiceover artist, it's for you. If you love audio, if you want to build your own home studio, this is the place you need to be. Now, Travis FM and speech aligning is just part of it, because when we get to the halfway mark, we're going to do some more sung stuff. I like to do the sung stuff. And then towards the end, if we have time, you may have heard, if you were watching on youtube.com/musicradiocreative and also on Twitch, and hang on, we're not on Periscope. I didn't push the button yet. Better push the button to make it go live on Periscope. Sorry to the Periscope viewers, but yeah, it's gone live now. Hello, Periscope. It's not often I forget to start a stream before going live. At the end, yes, we'll take a look at that intro to the show that I started designing yesterday. That was on Wednesday's show, and I completed just before today, Thursday's show for the 3rd of August 2017, as we do this show live. Another thing, please do get your comments in. As you can see, they're lovely, and they appear on the screen. Oh, I can see my microphone is in view. Hang on. There we go. So you do get featured. Any super chats on YouTube are always appreciated and help to support the show and that kind of stuff. So it's really good stuff. Over on Facebook, if you're over there, let me know where you're watching from and what you hope to gain from the show. And we're going to get into a heck of a lot of audio production in this session. I mentioned your comments at 15 minutes during the show. So 15 minutes in, 30 minutes and 45 minutes in. Get them in and give me your feedback on the intro to the show. What did you think of it? Did you enjoy it? And also, let me know if you notice any problems with the streaming today, particularly on YouTube, as I did a huge tweak. Like, I literally spent hours on this yesterday, as well as doing the intro, until I'm putting a lot of time into this show, but tweaking my settings in OBS, which is what I use, OBS Studio, to do this show, to really get everything nice and fine-grained and perfect. And I spent ages reading different forum posts and then watching videos in Chinese of people in China who were using it better than I am. And I think I've got to some good settings for live streaming now, so that we make the most of the bandwidth and basically give you the best experience. Otherwise, we're going to need another server. Right, let's get into the show over here. Thank you, Scott Davis, by the way, for an epic super chat already. Absolutely amazing. Thank you for the super chat. You can always see them. Scott is just there. Scott, thank you so much. Let me know a little bit more about you. Where are you watching from? And tell me a little bit more about you. But thank you for that. It always really helps to support this show. So over here, we've got a lovely jingle bed. So we work on tons of sung jingles here at Music Radio Creative, and this is one of our favourite oldie beds here. It's called the Music Radio Creative Utopia jingle. And as you can see, this is a music bed, and then I've got multiple vocals here. Wow, Anthony Hall, this is amazing. Thank you, Anthony. Can your new intro be used on my station, but with our call letters substituted? Absolutely it can, yes. All of the music and the jingles you hear on this show here are available to purchase from Music Radio Creative. And just at the end, I can just insert one vocal. Obviously needed to turn the music down a little bit. It was a bit too loud in the multi-track. Let's try again. That sounds a bit better, doesn't it? And what we do is we always create 3 or 4 different versions of sung jingles for every sung jingle order we get. So we'll make an a cappella, we'll make what's called a shotgun, a slogan, and a ramp. Have you ever heard those terms before? Well, if you've worked in radio, you probably have. If not, you're like, a shotgun, a slogan, and a ramp. What are you going to do to me? That sounds dangerous. Don't worry. I'll show you exactly what those are. Essentially, they're different lengths and mixes or mix-outs of the sung jingle. So first of all, let's do what we're here to learn today, and that is mixing multiple vocals. I'm going to switch off the music backing for the moment and play you some of Kim's wonderful vocals, and you can hear her in action. The only thing is, it won't sound quite right, so do bear with it, because I've just literally dragged all the vocals into the multi-track of Audition, and this is how it sounds.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
Okay, a lot can be done to improve those vocals, and I'll show you just how we can do that. First of all, we can do a zoom out so we can see literally how many vocals there are layered up on top of each other. Now, layering vocals in audio production is something that I cannot recommend enough. If you ever have a problem with making audio sound good, or you're ever finding that you just can't tweak a voiceover or a sung vocal so it cuts through the music, just double or triple up the vocals, and you'll soon have a voice that will cut through anything like a knife. So that's kind of what's going on here. But obviously we've got a few little things to resolve. And first of all, I noticed there's a little bit of distortion going on and bits like that. So I'm just going to bring down the volume probably by minus 6 dB. Let's go to a nice safe zone. So through all of these tracks, minus 6 dB. You can either do this here at the side of the multi-track very quickly, or you can go over to the mixer view and you can do it there. If I switch it onto the right setting, let's find the start of the mixer. Where's the start of the mixer? Here it is. So you can see all the different bits here and all the different settings. And obviously you'd want to go for the faders here, moving them up and down, or typing minus 6 down here at the bottom. But to be honest with you, I find it much easier to do this in the multi-track of Audition. So minus 6, minus 6, minus 6, minus 6, minus 6, all the way through. And we can put these on buses later and put some epic effects on as well. So let's have a listen to how that sounds now.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
Okay, sounding great. So what we're going to do is we're going to pan now some of the vocals over to each side. So if I do that very quickly, actually I always try to keep the master vocal in the center, and then do a left and right, and a left and a right, and a left and a right. Here we go, we're getting there. Going through and panning these all over. If you're listening in stereo, you should really hear the effect of what I'm doing in your headphones or on your stereo speakers. So let's just try that.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
Okay, and what I'd usually do is I would probably go and find all of these different tracks, and I'd bounce down the different mixes once I get something that sounds reasonably good. So I would take those three first of all. That's the first source, and go into multi-track, and we want to bounce to a new track, the selected clips only. There we go. And that's good, that's bounced to new tracks. So now I can mute out all of those, and we've got one track there. Then I would go and take all of these down here, these clips right there, and again I'm going to be bouncing the selected clips into a new track, and then I can mute all of that out. So then I've got another bounce, and then we can put various different effects on each different cut, and we can also bus it to a master bus where we can really process the vocals. And again, we're going to take all of these where Kim says this.
The 90s and more.
And we're going to go to multi-track, bounce to new track, and selected clips only again. So we get some mixed down bounces there. So again, I can now mute out all of this audio and keep that there. Now I'm going to, for the sake of ease, I'm going to move all the bounces up by grabbing with my hand like that, moving bounce 1 up to the top, moving bounce 2 all the way up. Here we go, to the top. There it is. And finally bounce 3. We can grab that and bring that track up to the top. So we can kind of forget about the individual sung stems for the moment. And we've got them all there. Perfect. Now I want to send it not to the master, but to a bus. I'm going to create a stereo bus. And this bus is going to be called Sung Vocals. And we're going to send all the sung vocals that I've bounced down into that bus. So let's hear that now with some effects on. First thing I'm going to do is add in, let's have a look here, EQ before compression. Let's start with the parametric EQ. And there's quite a few things I would do to sung vocals to really make them pop and cut out when we're mixing them all together. So let's have a look. That's all set up and ready to go. Let's have a sweep through.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
Okay, of course, rolling off any of that bass rumble, so let's get rid of that.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
Okay, sounding better.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
And you can hear how that's really starting to pop out now.
Making radio fun again. The 90s. Making radio fun again.
I just noticed here there's a little bit of distortion there. Let's see whether we can notch that out a little bit. So back into effects, filter and EQ. Well, actually, let's pop it into the rack here. Filter and EQ, and let's notch through. Switch off all the notches and just see whether we can isolate that. No, let's make it narrow, so we just widen it out. Okay, let's try that.
Making radio fun again.
And again.
Fun again. Fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
Okay, cool. So we've got our sung vocals EQ'd. Let's go in and add a little bit of compression. We'll go for a single band compressor to start with. Won't set it too aggressively, about minus 19, minus 20 dB, ratio of 3 to 1. Attack and release we can bring sort of right down, and the output gain should be at 0. Let's try this.
Making radio.
Okay, we can definitely go a bit more aggressive.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
Probably too aggressive there. Let's bring it up.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
And one more time.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
Okie dokie. Let's bring that just down a little bit in the mix.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
Okay, so we're getting there. We're starting to get an overall mix that is working with that jingle, but there is still more we can do to really make this work. We'll go on after we've done the compressor. It's a good place to add a little bit of reverb, so let's do so. Let's go to default and go all the way to dry. Bring in some wet.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
Okay, we can bring that up.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM. Travis FM.
Let's actually take the music out.
Travis FM.
Take the wet down a bit.
Travis FM. Travis FM.
Move this up.
Travis FM.
That kind of dampens the sound at the end, or take it to 0.
Travis FM.
You've got that full, rich kind of stereo sound at the end. Same with diffusion. We can move this up.
Travis FM.
Or move it right down.
Travis FM.
So just play with the settings until you get a sound that's sounding right.
Travis FM.
Here we go, changing the low and high frequencies. Let's bring the low frequencies up.
Travis FM.
So we get that kind of very sparkly reverb at the end. Make it a bit wider.
Travis FM.
There we go, sounding pretty good. So let's bring this back into the mix.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
What I'm going to do is actually notch down this bit because, and I'm not sure if that's in the sessions or just the way it's been bounced, just distorting a little bit.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
And we will go in and then add a final effect here, some mastering to it. Let's start with subtle clarity, always my favorite.
Making radio fun.
Okay, that's far too loud at the moment. Let's bring that down.
Making radio fun again. The 90s and more. Travis FM.
Okay, just changing the exciter settings. I kind of like the tube sound to the exciter. And then we've got...
Travis FM.
So we can probably still take that down in the mix.
Travis FM. Travis FM.
Okay, so something like that. So we've got a basic bit of EQ going on, trying to fix any problems and make the mix really pop out. Then we're compressing, we're adding our reverb in, and we're mastering. And really what we're getting out of the mastering, the final step, it adds more reverb. We can actually knock that off, seeing as we've set that ourselves. We're adding exciter to bring out the trebles. We're widening it a little bit, the stereo sound that we've got. Loudness maximizer, again, is a compressor, and we can set the output gain, again, to get the kind of setting we want. So we've got something pretty good. And again, we can play with the EQ of the music as well, the jingle music in the background, to really make it fit. Let's take a look at what you have been saying right now in the chat, because I always always like to mention your comments that come in during the live stream. A lot to get through today, by the way. It's very, very exciting. So we have got here in the house today plenty of people. Let's see. Let's start from the top. We've got Michael Root, where it's just after 9 p.m. in the Philippines right now. Tarek's in. Hello to you, Tarek. Nice to see you. Tom Novavsky, good morning from Tennessee in the USA. Nice to see you. Hello to Tarek, PB the Vlogs. Good day from Down Under. Peter Young is there. David Silk as well. Anthony Hall, Matthew Bowerman had a strong drink and now ready to see my face. Thank you. I think I need a strong drink as well. Who else have we got? We got Michael Root, Danny Garcia in from Indonesia, Polita as well. Thanks from Louisiana in the USA. Nice to see you, Martina. We've got DJ Infinity in Germany. Mohammed's watching. Scott Davis, first time I caught it live from Big Lake, Texas. And thank you, Scott, by the way, for that super chat earlier on. Really appreciate that. What else have we got in the chat at the moment? Loads of comments going on at the moment. Isabella's in there moderating and helping out as well. We've got Kevin. Hello, Mike. I'm watching from Cleveland, Ohio. Good to see you live again. Always good to see you when you go on. Well, thank you very much. I am making a few tweaks to the show. As you may have heard, the intro changed. I've also had a play with the streaming settings on Ob Studio, and I plan probably after Monday's show of next week. On Monday, we're going to do an exciting episode about creating music beds in Logic Pro and some of the fun you can have there. So if you need music beds, whatever, for your radio show, for your podcast, you can actually create some pretty decent stuff inside Logic. And I'm thinking of doing that. So maybe after the show on Monday, I might start using my Jingle board a bit more to play music beds, particularly when I'm reading your comments, so I can go on the mixing desk and make it into more of a radio show kind of live stream. Amir's watching from Egypt. What else have we got here? Appreciate all the info I've received over the past month, says Scott. Thank you, Scott. What else have we got in here? Matthew, I've not seen the Mixer View before. Have you not, Matthew? It's pretty good, particularly if you have a control surface or a mixing board hooked into Audition, because you can move the faders and watch the digital equivalents moving in real time. So yeah, the mixer is quite fun in Audition. And if you're doing stuff like side chaining and busing and sending thing everywhere, then the mixer can prove quite handy. What else have we got here? GK. Just talking to Isabella about moderating. Ravigo55 about the spanner hammer. That's the spammer hammer. I like that. I like that phrase for Isabella with her moderation in the live comments. Juan's in. Nice to see you, Juan. Lovely to have you in today. DJ Arid as well. That's lovely. Wanted to shout kudos to all at MRC. Got me back into audio production after 10 years of being away. Stumbled on one of the videos and was blown away by enthusiasm. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. Mr. Mega Radio UK, spiffingly good, which is nice to see. What else have we got here? I think the Travis FM Music Part could be a C major, then move to the D minor. Oh, thank you, David, for some musical knowledge bombshells in the chat today. Paulita, Louisiana, USA. I've learned so much. Guyan, can you create music for my channel intro, which I'm planning? Sure, yeah. Reach out to us at musicradiocreative.com. And Connor's in as well, and Lewis as well. Might you make those music beds available to the community group on Monday? Ooh, that's a good idea. I'm thinking of doing quite a few things with music beds, actually. A little plan, actually, that I haven't spoken about yet. It has been 5 years since I have delved into internet radio. And I think it is time right now. I think the time is fresh to get back into live streaming internet radio. And you might say, why, Mike? Why do you want to have your own radio station again? I love playing radio. Can't you tell? I spent 2 decades in the radio industry. And then, more time out of it. Well, not more time out of it. I'm not that old. Enough time out of it to want to be back in doing something. those of you that know or have heard of it, it's 5 years ago now, back in 2012, I set up a radio station, an online streaming radio station called MRC.FM, and it played remixes only. And my intention was to be kind of like the crash test dummy for setting up an internet radio station. How is it done? What do you have to do if you want to do all of this, like, by the book, so you're covering everything, you're not just whacking a stream out there with commercial music and hoping you don't get punished. I went into everything, like the music licensing, which was a nightmare, a complete nightmare, and everything else, like setting up the gear, setting up the server, getting the streaming going, all of that. And I had great fun doing it. So my plan is to bring something like that back, but instead of paying a lot of money, which I did for about 6 months, to play commercial music, I thought it might be a good idea to make MRC.FM back and available, but playing kind of jingle music and the tracks we use at MRC, because obviously we have the license for that, so we can use them. So rather than playing commercial music, that's the kind of lines I'm thinking of going along. And I think that I'm going to experiment with this, and some of you may have an opinion on this. I'd love to hear what you think about it in the chat. YouTube is proving to be a great place to be live, not only to do shows like this, but I see so many live radio stations streaming on YouTube. And just this morning I did a ton of research, and I've discovered that it's possible to set up your own YouTube live radio station. And what is great about that is you essentially stream as one person to YouTube, so one listener to your station, and then YouTube takes care of the bandwidth for the rest. So it doesn't matter if you've got 100, 200, or even 1,000 listeners, YouTube will look after the bandwidth. So I'm kind of thinking, that's interesting. So no problems of getting a bigger server if you need to, once you scale up and get more listeners, which back in the previous time when I did it, as soon as I submitted to the Windows directory and the Apple radio directory, the listening went through the roof and I had to buy more bandwidth. So yeah, just a thought on my mind. I'd love to hear your opinion on doing a radio station on YouTube, not playing commercial music, so forget about music licensing, but playing kind of produced music. What are your thoughts on doing that? And if you actually go, let me show you this just before I get back to what I'm doing. If we go to the screen share and let's have a look over here. If I bring in YouTube and search for radio, for instance, let's search for radio in YouTube. Now look at this. This is why I'm quite excited about it. You search for radio in YouTube and most of the top results now are live internet radio stations streaming via YouTube. And look at this. So like one station, Tropical House, has 4,500 people listening right now. Another one, Chiptune 8-bit gaming music, 2 watching. Okay, maybe that one's not so popular. What else have we got? Just Good Music, 1,400 people watching or listening right now. Lo-fi hip hop radio, 3,700. And I reckon, yeah, I want to crack at that. And I encourage you too. Let's talk about it over in the community, setting up our own YouTube live internet radio station. If you haven't joined the community, it's community.musicradiocreative.com. And yeah, another thing you can do is if you go into filters here on the YouTube search and search for only live, there you get a list basically of all these radio stations. There's tons of them. Now I don't know if all of these are legitimate and whether they're playing commercial music. There's a lot of picture of Japanese cartoon girls I see on quite a few of the stations. Yeah, it's like deep house, lots of EDM, lots of lo-fi hip hop, trap music and stuff like that. But just tons and tons and tons of stations. And I've seen them kind of organically appearing recently in my YouTube results, which is kind of what got me onto the idea. I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here and away from what I'm actually doing, but I genuinely love to know your opinion on setting up a radio station that streams via YouTube. And I mean, this is amazing. Let's just tune into this one for a second. Lo-fi hip hop radio 24/7. Here we go. And it's very chilled out, isn't it? And they've got all their links to all their social media and bits like that. This is my plugin vidIQ, which shows that they're ranking for a load of keywords in YouTube, so that's probably where they're getting some of their listeners from. And here's the live chat. Now, if you're Watching on YouTube Live, you'll be familiar with live chat because you're using it. But this live chat is pinging all the time with people listening to this radio station. So I just kind of thought, yeah, this is a good way. And I'm kind of figuring out how to do it because I know there's a lot to do with regards to figuring out how I'm going to get the servers worked out and how I'm going to stream to YouTube and how I'm going to have it 24/7 because you need an always-on computer. But yeah, it's just a thought. We got quite a few comments on that topic, actually. Anthony Hall, go for it. Will help any way I can. We went from 0 listeners when we started to 8 million on our morning show, done by famous comedian Cheryl Underwood. DJ says you should. Luis Riviera, who would pay the licensing fees when on YouTube? Well, I don't know. Yeah, if you're playing commercial music, I think that's a bit of a grey area. But I know YouTube are hot on that. So if you did start playing like the latest track from Lady Gaga or whatever, I'm sure they've got like sound recognition and they'd slap your channel down for that and then you'd get banned. Royalties in US are brutal. We're moving towards streaming to YouTube and podcasts, losing many stations in the US due to royalty war. Go for it. It's a great idea. And you can find Anthony's station at groovecityfx.com. Yeah, absolutely, Scott. YouTube would handle the bandwidth, which would be good. Mega Radio UK think it's a good plan. Bandwidth was always the showstopper for internet radio. So yeah, YouTube taking care of that because, I mean, this has got like 3,832 people listening. That's, there's got to be a lot of bandwidth that YouTube is handling, which is amazing. Licensing changed for internet radio? Really? Interesting. So there we go. What microphone and headphones am I using? GK, if you'd like to know that, best place to get all the info is community.musicradiocreative.com. And actually, Joe, who I know is in the chat, has created this wonderful list of helpful audio producer resources in there. If you join up, you can have a look. And he's posted a lot of the stuff I've mentioned and the gear that I'm using as well. Josh, that chest got hair, Mike. Thanks, Josh. I found an interview of you and a few other audio enthusiasts from the BBC the other day. That's right, yeah, I was on the BBC. That was a couple of years ago now. Well, thanks very much for the kind comment on that. Yeah, talking about, that was actually when I set up my initial internet station. I did get invited onto a show on the BBC to talk about setting up internet radio, which was, it's quite meta really, isn't it? So yeah, there you go. Interesting to see your comments on that. So yeah, I think I should do it. And once I figure it out, I'm going to post in the Music Radio Creative community how I've done it. Yeah, so just to wrap up on these sung jingles before we get on to the next bit, I wanted to show you... Oh, hang on. I've still got that internet station in the background. Let's switch that off. Making a slogan, a shotgun, and an a cappella. So essentially the full mix with the music of about 30 seconds, that's known as a ramp. And then if we were to cut this down and move this in, let's try and find the right beat here. So let's find the intro to this. It goes in like... So in like that to the first beat. Let's make sure we're on beat here. And play it. This is a shotgun. Actually, no, that's a slogan. That's a slogan when you have just the quick sort of 10 or 15 second jingle. And then when we do something like this... And then when we do something like this, let's just cut out the initial bits here and here. This is what we call a shotgun, something like this. Let's try and cut that in nicely if we can, on the fly. So this is kind of a shotgun. It's literally just the station name, and let's move that in a bit more. So it could be like that, it could be even shorter. And that's a shotgun. And then if we get rid of the background music, we've got an a cappella as well. So there you go. That nicely wraps up that section. DJ Arad, what about mixing copyrighted songs live? Will I get banned? I reckon you will. And if you don't immediately, I'm sure they will clamp down on you eventually, especially if you're playing really well-known music. You know, you're going to get reported for that, so don't do it. Easy Media, hello, watching from New Zealand. Nice to see you there. Scott, I would think you would be responsible for licensing, Lewis. Yeah, I think so. I remember, this is 5 years ago now, but yeah, it cost a ton of cash. I can speak from experience to have an internet radio station that was playing music, particularly to anywhere in the world. The bodies here are PRS and PPL. And just for a tiny internet radio experiment, it was a lot of money, I can tell you. It's like after a while, I did shut it down because, unless I was going to get some heavy sponsorship, there are some people who do it very well. There are some really good internet stations out there. So there are some people making money in the game. But for you, if you're getting started and you're playing commercial music, you're going to need a big bankroll to do that. That's why I'm thinking about the royalty-free kind of jingle songs and music beds style. And I think there's a space to be able to do something like that. Christopher, does anyone remember a piece of software that matched BPMs? Yes. There is DJ Pro that I use on the Mac. But I used to use many moons ago when I used to DJ in nightclubs a piece of software. I think it's made on the Gold Coast in Australia, and it's called OTS Studio. And I always thought that was really very good indeed. Patel, Mr. Mike, remove vocal. Give us one option, remove drums from a song. Oh, okay, yeah, go and vote for it in the community, absolutely. What I mean is it's all done online, no paperwork sent back. Oh, Liam has just dropped a bombshell there in the chat today. So you've got an internet station, you want to do licensing, it's all done online now. Yeah, I remember I had to fill out these forms and get Excel spreadsheets and oh man, yeah. I'm glad they've brought it into the digital world now. Sounds like it's getting better then. So maybe I'll start with royalty free, but Liam, if you are able, I don't know if you're a member of our community, but if you're not, if you could post maybe some details on how to do that now for those in the UK at least. Sounds like it's getting easier, which is good to do an internet station with real music. Real music. In my club, I'm getting pounded with licensing fees too. Lewis says, ASCAP, BMI, CESAC, Sound Exchange are brutal in the USA. Yes, they do want to pay their artists, don't they? Virtual DJ, says Scott Davis. OTS DJ, that was the one. OTS. Very good. My Cat and Dog track has copyrighted music, but I checked with the author's website, and there are details that give me the right to use it. Absolutely. If you got permission, go for it. David Lewis, Tractor as DJ software is awesome. Listen to My Radio doesn't need licensing. Really? Are you sure about that? Interesting. Anyway, now we've had a play with sung jingles, let's hop over here and have a look at some automatic speech alignment. I remember Christopher, who I can see actually in the chat, was particularly interested in that feature. And I know we had a brief play with it on Monday when I did some noise reduction. But yeah, it really is cool. This is the session, by the way, for my Music Radio Creative intro bit. Let's have a look here. Let's create a brand new session. Put in the MRC presets and we'll call it Align. And we'll bring in all our voices here. So we've got Chelsea. Duke does the first bit, so I won't use him for the moment. We've got Pete and we've got Tilly. Okay. So, they all say similar things, so let's find this first phrase.
For Music Radio Creative, live with Mike Russell.
Okay.
Radio, music.
So I just want the Music Radio Creative live. I'm just going to take that from each artist, and then I'm going to get Harvey.
For Music Radio Creative Live.
Okay, Music Radio Creative Live.
Music Radio Creative.
That's it. Might need to tighten up the start. Now, you can see these aren't aligned at all. In fact, I wonder whether Harvey's got a better cut. Let's just have a look. I think he says live all together with it. So that's going to pose a little interesting issue, but we'll give it a go. Hi to Geki, by the way. Give Housemasters Radio crew a shout out, Mike. Thanks for all your work with us. And a big hello to Jill. Hey, Geki, it's lovely to see you there. And yes, Housemasters Radio are awesome. I recognize that name, Housemasters Radio. Of course I do. And I'll show you, actually, Housemasters Radio, if you want to check them out. Let's just drag this in here. Housemasters Radio, housemasters-radio.com. Very, very good indeed. So check it out. I do love online internet radio. I really do. That's why I'm kind of getting itchy feet or itchy fingers to get back into it right now. Here's Pete.
For Music Radio Creative Live.
Music Radio.
Music.
Okay, let's get Pete there. Ignore the effects for the moment. Actually, let's see if we got a version of Chelsea saying Music Radio Creative Live all as one.
Radio Creative Live.
Oh, there's a little pause there. Let's have a look. Live.
Creative.
No, that's okay. That's going to be okay. Actually,
For Music Radio.
let's use that take instead. I think that's going to be a fun take to play with. All right, so as you can see, these are all over the place, these cuts. And then Tilly here.
For Music Radio Creative Live. For Music
That's going to be the one there. Okay, so we have got 4 voiceovers all saying Music Radio Creative Live. Let's see whether we can, first of all, tidy them up. So here we go. Actually, I'm going to create some new tracks here. So add stereo track, and add a stereo track. And we'll make sure they're all going through to the voice effects bus on my presets here. There we go. Okay, so let's just fade these in at the start, because most of the artists say 4, and I just want to make sure that's not there. Right, what have we got here?
Music Radio Creative Live.
Okay, let's just have a play with the Adobe Audition automatic speech alignment, see how well it can align all of those. Oh, it only works with 2 clips. Sorry about that. Okay, so we'll work with Chelsea and Harvey first. Let's use automatic speech alignment here. So you can use this when you're trying to replace audio in a video, particularly if the video has lots of noise and you want to go back to the studio and re-record what you said. But it can also work really well for aligning 2 voiceovers together. Let's see how that works. So what it's done is it's now produced a new version of Harvey, because I used Chelsea as the reference track, and then I said match Harvey to Chelsea's pace. So let's listen to them together now. Without any of the others.
Music Radio Creative Live.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Music Radio Creative Live.
And then if I mute that out and bring the original Harvey cut,
Music Radio Creative Live.
you can hear the difference there.
Music Radio Creative Live.
It's done a really good job, hasn't it? So you can see how well it works to align speech. Again, we're going to do it with Chelsea and Pete now. And we're going to go automatic speech alignment here. And let's use Chelsea again as the reference for Pete. There we go. Okay, a brand new Pete aligned track. Mute that and let's have a listen. Let's just make sure we've got the fade-ins here so it's natural.
Music Radio Creative Live. Music Radio Creative Live. Music Radio Creative Live.
That's nice. To be honest, it looked like Pete and Chelsea were pretty much matched already. And then finally, let's listen to Chelsea and Tilly.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Actually, one thing I am noticing, we need to do a bit of matching loudness here so we can hear everything.
Music Radio Creative Live.
So you can hear that Chelsea and Tilly are not matching at all until I click both of them. Match automatic speech alignment again. And we're using Chelsea as reference. We want to align Tilly. And there you go. Tilly is now aligned. Let's mute the original and play the new cut.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Oh, hang on. We've still got Harvey in the mix.
Music Radio Creative Live.
And hang on. She needs to match in loudness.
Music Radio Creative Live.
That's pretty good, right? Okay, so you can see how well the algorithm works here in Adobe Audition. Let's make sure I'm just unmuting the aligned tracks here. Yep.
Music Radio Creative Live.
That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that as it sounds already. So you can see how easy it is to align speech like this and make it sound really good. So what I might do is pan this left and right here. Pan this left and right here,
Music Radio Creative Live.
Sounds excellent, doesn't it? Sounds really good. And that's starting with 4 voice clips that, as you could hear when I played you the initial example, just had no kind of alignment. We couldn't mix those vocals at all. I'll show you the manual way, because I think while it's great that Adobe Audition can do this really nicely and really quickly for you, it's nice to kind of have a go at doing what Adobe Audition is doing yourself. So let's bring those clips back over here. Copy here. And then I'm going to unmute here. There we go. And have a listen again.
Music Radio Creative Live.
It just sounds like a noisy mess at the moment, doesn't it? So what I would do here is I would zoom in nice and close to all of these voices, and I would try and automatically align by time stretching, dragging out these white triangles. If it's not enabled for you, you just need to go here, toggle global clip stretching, and then we can just drag out like that. So let's mute these 2 off and listen to how Harvey and Chelsea are matching up.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Okay. Oh, hang on, Tilly's in the mix. Let's take Tilly out.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Now, it's really hard to get it quite right when you do it yourself, and often what you need to do is segment this up into different bits and time stretch the little bits like this. So we're doing that and making sure that this is all matching nicely.
Music Radio Creative Live.
That's almost there, isn't it? And again, I can hear creative on Harvey's bit goes on a bit too long, so let's time stretch him in and time stretch this now. Oh, and take a bit off the end here. Let's have a listen.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Oh dear, that doesn't sound right. Hang on, let's bring in a bit more of that fade there.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Okay, what I might need to do is a cheeky trick here. Just time stretch that out.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Not sounding good at all. This is where we just need to have a mess about to make this sound right. Crossfade.
Music Radio Creative Live. Music Radio Creative Live.
Right, we're almost there. It's just that line.
Live. Live.
Let's do some crossfades here.
Live.
Okay, that's as good as we're going to get doing it manually.
Music Radio Creative Live.
And then we'll bring Pete in.
Music Radio Creative Live.
That's pretty good, just the last bit needs a little bit of time stretch there. Ooh, we don't want to lose that bit, so let's try this.
Live. Live. Live.
And we're going to need to time stretch that last bit like that in.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Okay, that's a rough edit, but we're getting there. And then Tilly over here.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Yeah, that's going to need some work there.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Okay, the live is almost there. Let's have a look at live. That needs to just move over a bit and move in. And we got the
Music Radio Creative.
Okay, creative. We need to change Tilly's creative a little bit there.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Okay, and then we'll bring everything into the mix and have a listen to, let us compare now my attempt and Adobe Audition's attempt.
Music Radio Creative Live.
So that's my attempt. Sometimes I can do better edits than that, but this is Adobe Audition's automatic speech alignment.
Music Radio Creative Live.
I have to say, I think Adobe Audition wins the medal today with its technology. So there you go. But you get an idea how you can mix multiple vocals like that, and then you could drop in a few effects. In fact, what I could do is take all of these tracks here and then bounce to new tracks, selected clips only. By the way, vote now in the chat. What would you like to see for the last 15 minutes? I can either show you another sung jingle, mixing a sung jingle together, or I can show you the MRC intro that I created yesterday and how I put bits of that together. What would you like to see? Vote either jingle or intro now in capital letters in the chat. Jingle or intro, write it into the chat, and the one with the most mentions I'll cover. So do you want to see a jingle mixed together, or do you want to see how the Music Radio Creative intro was put together? Jingle or intro, type it now into the chat. So yes, now we've got our bounce here, over here, which sounds nice. And we'll bring in an a nice track here. We could pop in a nice riser here. And let's match the clip loudness.
Music Radio Creative.
Oh, hang on. Move it onto the right
Music
track.
Radio Creative Live.
So there we go.
Music Radio Creative Live.
And also, I think
Music Radio Creative Live.
we really need a bang as well. Oh, something like that. Okay, let's bring this in. Bring that on solo. So it could be like this.
Music Radio Creative Live.
And match clip loudness on that.
Music Radio Creative Live.
So there we go. We've got a nicely aligned multiple vocal jingle there. What have we got? Oh, in the chat, everyone is asking to see the intro session file that I was working on pretty much. Yep. Intro. Renato, I like Adobe Audition CC very much, but for me, music is only a hobby. Well, there you go. So a lot of you want to see how the intro was put together, so I can definitely show you that in the last bit. It is a really good algorithm, isn't it, David? Amazing stuff. Time stretching is definitely a headache to get right. And if an algorithm can do it for you, why not? And, it's got many more data points than my brain. So, trust the algorithm. Alt A for a new stereo track. Ooh, David, you're full of these shortcuts. I love it. I really need to brush up on having some more shortcuts to hand. That is super cool. Lots of good stuff there in the chat. Keep the comments coming in. Sorry if I can't get to everyone today, but do keep the discussion going over at community.musicradiocreative.com. When this show finishes, I'd love it if you go over and make a post into the community at community.musicradiocreative.com. Hi to Brian, by the way, on Facebook Live. Jamie Linton as well. Niels is watching. So a lot of you want to see that intro. Some of the posts, the latest posts, we got internet radio license, audiobook producers, punch and roll for voiceovers, OBS studio tutorials, removing vocals from a song, scripts for Adobe Audition, and more. Just some of the latest conversations over there in the community. Get over there yourself after the show and make a few posts, or just bring up a topic that you're really interested in. If you'd like to get some feedback or advice, there's some really good audio producers and general live streaming, internet radio, podcasting, DJ, voiceover creatives in there. It's a fun place to be. So just before we get over to that intro, one more trick that I could do is this. Let's see if we can record something. The best music. The best music. The best music. Okay, now obviously I did try and say those all at pretty much the same pace, and you can make multiple versions of yourself. This is a really cool aligning trick as well in audio production. If one voice is not enough, then let's have a lot of different voices.
The best music.
And again, a little bit of speech alignment probably would not go amiss there, but yeah, doubling up your voice and going stereo left and right as well can really make things pop. But anyway, I see from the comments you are here to watch how it is that this MRC live intro was put together. For those of you that missed it, by the way, because you were maybe watching on Facebook doesn't get the pre-roll, just goes live at the top of the hour. I will just play you this intro now. This is the brand new intro for Music Radio Creative Live.
Testing the left speaker. Left. Testing the right speaker. Right. Testing phaser. Full frequency sweep. Now.
Stand by for Music Radio Creative Live with Mike Russell.
MRC Live.
Music Radio Creative Live.
With Mike Russell.
Starting in 30 seconds.
So there you go, that is the brand new MRC Live introduction, and as you can see I've got a nice session here in Adobe Audition. I did have some mastering on that that makes it pop a little bit more, so I'm just going to enable that, and you can see what I've got here. So let's go through track by track. First of all, I started out with my Adobe Audition presets that I use to produce pretty much everything, so I can put on very quickly some vocal effects. And here is the voice EQ track. So over on this track, I EQ'd a couple of voices here.
Stand by.
Pete saying stand by,
With Mike Russell.
and Chelsea saying with Mike Russell. Then over here, we had voice chorus. Now, I applied chorus to pretty much every single voiceover in the multi-track. So it was to give that kind of stereo, kind of almost robotic effect.
Testing the left speaker.
So that's Duke on his own, and
Testing the right speaker.
then this,
Testing phaser.
and then this,
Full frequency sweep.
and then...
Now.
Stand by. Stand by for Music Radio Creative Live.
MRC Live.
Music Radio Creative Live.
With Mike Russell.
Starting in 30 seconds.
Now, one thing you'll notice here in this track is that here on Harvey's voice,
Music Radio Creative Live.
for some reason, I had real issues getting Harvey to pop out over the music. All the other voices were okay, but Harvey's voice, I just could not get to pop over that music bed, and it was kind of getting drowned out while every other voice was okay. So I did a little bit of extra work on this file, as you can see in this file. I brought the amplitude up, first of all. It hits a compressor anyway, so it's not going to distort. But also, if you ever get a problem clip in your multitrack and you want to fix it, then you want to go over to the effects rack and click off from track effects and go to clip effects. And as you can see here, I use 2 parametric equalizers and a vocal enhancer to make Harvey's voice pop out. So let's listen to it with them off.
Music Radio Creative Live.
That's without them, and then with the effects.
Music Radio Creative Live.
Kind of filled out his voice. I put in, from my memory, I put in a lot of mid-range there, rolled off a lot of the treble that was causing an issue, and then added it on again for some reason. Obviously needed more coffee then. And vocal enhancer is just a very simple effect in your rack that you can pop into any clip, and it's only got 3 settings there. As you can see, very simple. Male voice, female voice, or music. So obviously I added the male setting there and added that to Harvey's voice. Then over on bounce 2, 3, and 1, 1, 2, and 3 here, just in the wrong order, I doubled up the speech tracks. So if we have a listen to those, it is just...
Stand by.
Stand by.
Stand by.
It's literally just a mix down of all the vocals, and I doubled the vocals up to really help them to cut across the music. Then again, over on track 1, I seem to remember I had some fun with a ring modulator. So you would have heard this on Duke and Chelsea.
Testing the left speaker.
And this one.
Testing the right speaker.
And then Chelsea.
Full frequency sweep.
And I did do it on Chelsea as well, but maybe she's on another track. I think over here. Let's have a look. Did I use it over here? No, just echo. So yeah, the ring modulator gives that really good electronic sound.
Testing the left speaker.
And what I did is I used, it's actually a free plugin. I have demonstrated this before on a stream. It's called M Ring Modulator, and you can grab it actually at mrc.fm/ring modulator. It's completely free, which is just amazes me. I'm just going to post this in the chat, so that you can head over there if you're on YouTube. And I use the Badland Omni preset to get that sound, which was really good.
Testing the left speaker.
But you can really have fun with a ring mod, and if you double it up with the original voice, you can get some really funky effects like this, or this,
Testing the left speaker.
or this.
Testing the left speaker.
But Badland Omni was my choice,
Testing the left speaker.
which gave it that kind of trebly electronic voice sound. Then over here on the echo, we did some automations. We did panning hard left and hard right, so you get that,
Left.
and echoed it out. And the echo was basically leaving the bass and removing the treble over time. The same with the right-hand side.
Right.
And then over here,
MRC Live.
oh, what I did there was I faded in Pete halfway through where he says live, so that live would just echo away.
See live.
And that was doubled up with his original voice there and there in the multi-track. Then over here, what have we got here?
Phaser.
Oh yes, the phaser. So I did use a rather intense phaser just to give that stereo effect in your ears. Let's go back to the main screen so you can see it. So that's the phaser. And on the second clip, I think I used a clip effect. Yep, scientific filter. And I just rolled off some bass to give it that kind of washed out, kind of far away sound. So it was different to the original. Then we have got, this is the music bed. And at that point, Duke introduced the full frequency sweep, didn't he? Let's have a listen. Let's bring in all the vocal tracks again.
Full frequency sweep.
And then over there for the full frequency sweep, this is where I use some sound effects. Over here, this is a full frequency sweep. Let's have a listen to it.
Sweep.
So I kind of sweeped through from 1 hertz right the way up to around 22K, and it's just a simple generated tone in Adobe Audition. Really easy to do. Effects, generate tones. Yes, I'm going to affect the multi-track, that's okay. And yeah, I've still got the setting in there that I used yesterday. Bass frequency was 1 hertz, and then I sweeped the frequencies up to 22050, which is the max, and I got this lovely sound. Hang on, let me pull it down because it might be loud. So that was sweeping up, but it didn't sound like that in the multi-track, did it? Why? Because I added a few more bits and bobs on. If we go to track effects, I added some studio reverb here, pulled the dry down to 75%, and the wet was up to 100%. So we get a sound that is like, let's just take everything else off and have this. And then a little fade out there, so the reverb just nicely decays away. I also use the reverb on this effect, and on this effect. And then we'll bring in some more sound effects like this one. Hard pan left, hard pan right. That's another bang, another glitch, another bit, and then down here there is something else going on. And if you see how that all fits into the mix, let's bring this off and show you how all those effects went in. So we had a hard pan left, and a hard pan right. And then we had, let's move the music out. Oh, hang on, not that, but that.
Testing. Phaser. Full frequency sweep.
Stands by.
So that bang now was on the start of the a brand new bar in the jingle, so it really had a nice impact when you bring the music in.
Stand by.
And then over here, another effect.
Live with Mike Russell.
So just a little transition there. Music Radio Creative Live with Mike Russell.
Music Radio Creative Live with Mike Russell.
MRC Live.
And then a little end impact there. Notice I put the ring modulator on Chelsea as well there when she said with Mike Russell. Then a riser at the end.
Creative Live.
With Mike Russell.
Building.
In 30 seconds.
And bang. And the bang again nicely matched up with the start of a new bar in the music track. So listen to how that changes with and without the bang. There's the bang. Now mute that out and you get... It's just not as impactful. Also, I noticed this is a little solo of the drums here. Just for the intro. And I just did that and I moved the first drum up a little bit because without that, I just felt the drums weren't as strong. So I doubled up the drum track. And that is it! That is my walkthrough of the Music Radio Creative intro. That is literally all I've got time for. I know you've been commenting away. I really appreciate the comments. I will read them after the show. Continue the discussion over at community.musicradiocreative.com. I'd love to see you there. Make a post right now. Let me know what is on your mind in the community. And I will be back tomorrow for Friday's show.